volatility expansions, volatility contractions, rinse and repeat. It seems like that was the moral of the story in here this past week. Just crazy week overall. Look for that to continue as we head into this new month coming up this week. So a lot of things going on geopolitically. You also had the Fed. You also had PCE, a lot of earnings reports as well, being very undecided on if they're going to run up or pull back. So look for more of that to continue as we go into the month of August. Our VIX right now, we're trading at 16, down around 6.5% on the day from Thursday's close. We're going to see where futures open up on Sunday night and then see what type of overnight trading happens to give us a little bit of a heads up as we go into market open on Monday. Going forward, what are we looking at in here technically, though, on this chart? It's all going to come down to that $17, $18 area, right? So you have your 200 SMA, your 50-day SMA, that 9-day EMA. They're all wrapped within about 80 or so points of each other in here, right? So about 1741, 1781, and 1828 collectively. So that whole area, as you can see, it's really been congested in here ever since May. All of those moving averages have been wrapped around each other here on the weekly chart, and it seems like it's been a magnet. Every time we get a pop on our VIX, it's right back down. We get a pullback on our VIX, we go right back up. Those moving averages have been a large magnet. So right now, we're trading down here at this 16. I would not be surprised if we get a pop in here sometime this coming up week that brings us all the way back up here close to these moving averages. It seems like the new norm in here has been around that 15 to 16 range, with our highs going up to that 22 area respectively. So look for that whole area to be a place where the volatility is reverting back to its mean, and keep that in the back of our mind as we're looking at our overall market and the correlations between the SPUs and the NASDAQ and things like that. So going forward, that's what we're looking at in here technically. Now, your implied volatility rank on your VIX in here is sitting at about 30, so it's relatively elevated compared to itself. Your morning expiration coming up this week is going to be this Wednesday, about $1.10 move expected in here. And it looks like you got most of your actions coming in on the calls in here as far as being spread out. But on your puts, it looks like it was all kind of correlated right there on that $17 strike. So we're going to see how things kind of shake out as we get closer to this VIX expiration this Wednesday. If we get a run up in the market, look for a pullback in the VIX. Run up in your VIX, look for a pullback in the market. But if we do get a short little pop in our overall market, like we just did on Friday, if that continues into Monday and Tuesday, look for that Tuesday night pullback as we're getting closer to that VIX expiration coming up on Wednesday morning. So that's something to kind of be aware of as we're going throughout this week as well. We're going to take a look at the bonds in here, just because this TLT has not been correlated with the market as it usually has. Usually you get a little bit of an inverse correlation. Actually, you get a lot of an inverse correlation with a little bit of positive drift. Right now, we're getting basically nothing, right? So we did end up red on the day. So that is good news. It's as far as the overall correlations with the market, that is, but it's bad news because there's really no lows in here to kind of check out. We kind of have to zoom out in here all the way back to almost about 3 or 4 years ago until you get the support in here that we need. So right now we're going to be looking at our worst case scenario in here as that 82 flat for our support. Anything outside of there, we're going to be looking at that $80 level. To the upside in here, we're focusing on that $85 level, then above that 86. And then obviously after that, we're looking at, you guessed it, 87. So kind of nice whole numbers in here, just following and seeing what TLT is going to do. Again, we want that correlation. We want how the market used to be. But again, we're getting a very different market now than what we just had even up to a couple years ago, right? So where you have pops in Amazon, you're getting pullbacks in Apple. The Qs are just firing off, ripping, and then Apple pulls back, Apple goes up, and then everything just dumps in your chips and things like that. All the while, you get a run up in the market, and TLT basically goes up with us. And then all of a sudden we get a pullback in the market, and then TLT pulls back as well. Just trying to figure out what's happening with the overall correlation. But there's one thing that is tried and true that we can always stand on, and that's watching our VIX. So that's why we kind of looked at our VIX here. The first chart in here for this video, just because we know that when we do get a run up in the market, we are going to get a pullback on our VIX. But it's always good to keep in mind where TLT is trading in relation to the VIX and the overall market, as well as we're trying to navigate some crazy times, even though we can't really hang our hat on anything TLT is doing right now. But it's always good to see what the bond market is quietly doing in here, especially recently. So 82.25 is where we ended. To the downside in here, 82, then 80 to the upside in here, 85, 86, and 87. So let's see what happens as we start out a new month in here. Watch your VIX, especially as we get close to Wednesday. We're going to see if we're going to continue that pattern where as soon as we pull away or try to pull away from that overall cluster of moving averages, see if we can kind of magnet back to that, right? So that's what we're going to see if that's going to continue or not as we open up this new month. So let's see what happens in here as we continue throughout this crazy year and this crazy environment that we have been trading in. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We also have a Discord service if you are interested, and you can find all of our socials in the description below.